Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, continuing on with the Warhammer Community Old World Almanac articles. Obviously, since we had the news about the Orc and Goblin pre-order release window that came out on Sunday, there's been a slew of articles. We've had a break in between for the Adepticon news of the Dwarf and Mountain Holds also being released, and now we're kind of coming back a day before to look at the Orc and Goblin Classics, which also are returning made to order. So let's take a look and see what is coming up. So, oh, look at that, Stone Trolls. I particularly like those. So, okay, so the old was partly about nostalgia, bringing back iconic models. Yep, and that's what made-to-order releases are about. Okay, a few examples in the Orc and Goblin range. Right, Stone Trolls and Marauder Giant. Okay. These are legends that haven't been around for 20 years or more, but they were a priority because they have such a legacy behind them. Everyone who was a hobbyist in the late 80s, 90s remembers the Marauder Giant as being one of the biggest kits available at the time. People had to stick it on 4 40mm bases because they were the biggest bases that were made at the time. Or you had to make your own out of wood, thick card or plastic. Okay, so there is the Marauder Giant. Pretty cool. I mean, it's a classic, iconic giant. I think some of the other giants are nicer. Some of the new plastic giants are really nice, but this guy is iconic. He's cool for a collector's item. And again, it's all personal choice what you want. The large giant from Forge World, is going to be pricey. It'd be interesting to see how this guy comes up as made to order. But he's an absolute iconic and classic miniature if you like that. Personally, if you're going in new with sort of more modern aesthetic stuff, the plastic giants are also pretty good. But he's going to be available. You can see the Stone Trolls here. I really like these as miniatures. I think these are great, great looking miniatures. They've kind of really held up. And while I'm not a big fan of trolls on the tabletop themselves, these ones look really cool. They look really cool. Okay, so honour those long-standing customers. Okay, targeting the Marauder Giant for painting treatment. Okay. Referencing classic colour schemes. Good percentage of the heavy metal team who have never built metal models before, so you had to teach people how to pin the arms. Oh yes, the joys of pinning, even when you had metal wings on dragons and stuff, pinning. Yeah, it's an important thing to do there if you are picking up any of these made-to-order kits and they've got big metal joints. Pinning, absolutely essential to a large part of big metal kits. Okay, so you've got classic Wyvern here, so that's the Shaman on Wyvern, I believe. So, yeah, a lot of miniatures will be remastered and filled with resin, which is easier to work with than metal. I absolutely do agree with that. I think there's a little bit more preparation needed with working with forged wood resin, but it is definitely easier to work with than metal. But, with that comes if you drop forged wood resin, then expect things to break off, whereas metal, they tend to bend a little bit rather than snap. Remaster, they go together, yeah, okay. So, it is an Orc Shaman on Wyverno, returning in metal because that's what they should be. Okay. We want it to be as close to the originals as possible. You're getting that heavy metal model. And some people really like the metal. They really like the feel of having the weight, which is cool. And you're going to get the option to have that, which is great. Okay. Most of the main range, everything like Orc and Goblin, Knight Command groups from the old Warhammer Forge brand were pretty straightforward to bring back. You'll have to wait and see whether other miniatures from that era might return. We're looking at them all on a faction-by-faction basis, but at least some of them will be back. And here's the Stone Trolls in a clearer picture. As I said, I think these are really cool-looking miniatures, and they look cool even today. Absolutely iconic. And definitely well worth picking up if you want to get yourself some Stone Trolls. These are great. Okay, we've got River Trolls in here. River Trolls I like less so their aesthetic compared to Stone Trolls. I just think these guys just look really cool. Not so much on these, but again, there's lots of people that do like that. and I do think the Black Orc big boss with axe and shield, I think he looks pretty cool as well. So there's some really good stuff here in the made to order section. I mean, lots there. Good for collectors, good for people that have existing armies, and good for people that have never been into Warhammer Fantasy before and they want to pick up some of these old classic models just because you like the look of them. Sometimes it's good just to buy a model because you like the look of it and you want to paint it rather than actually buy it and play with on the tabletop. So again, I am, like I said in the video yesterday around the Dwarven Mountain Holds announcement, I have been pleasantly surprised across the factions that we've seen for the amount of variety and things that are being brought back, made to order. And I think, you know, the Tomb Kings and Bretonnians initially kind of felt like they were a bit light. Then we started to see some more stuff with the wave. So at the beginning, I was a little bit, I wouldn't say concerned, but it was interesting to see kind of how potentially small the releases were. But we've seen they've kind of grown with a bit of made to order. But I think with these dwarves and the orcs and goblins, we've really seen kind of a bit of an explosion in lots of classic miniatures coming back, made to order, and I think that's absolutely brilliant. So props to GW for giving people the opportunity to pick these up. You know, it's always a shame when things are on made to order and it's essentially a limited time to buy and get it in, but you can't have everything available all the time with such a vast array of items and products when you've got, you know, other game systems as well, especially given the old world is not a currently main game system sitting behind 40k and Age of Sigmar. But great all the same. I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts are on these releases, whether it's the dwarves, whether it's the orcs and goblins, whether it's Tomb Kings and Bretonnians. Let me know what you think in terms of how much we've seen and you know what that means for the potential for the future, and also, you know, what that means in terms of how popular the game appears to be and how it has surprised Games Workshop, and maybe it's pushing them to release even more of these classic miniatures, which can only be good for us as consumers, assuming the prices are not unaffordable. With that in mind, that's the end of this video and article. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit that subscribe button. It's free for you to do. It's a big deal for me, so thank you for that in advance. And thank you to all those that have already subscribed. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and I'll see you all very, very soon.